All right, so we can consider this as some, as some nimitta, because as we were just discussing the nagas and the serpents, all of a sudden, my power went off. So there is no, you know, there is no explainable reason why this happened. But of course, there is certain limiter that does not, that does not want me to, maybe put out this video on YouTube, or maybe, just maybe, it did not want you to listen to whatever I was sharing. All right, so the serpents are deceitful and treacherous and attack and at unsuspected moments. So this is something that I have discussed. Perpetuation of such psychological traits is dangerous for the working of the natural law of evolution, which Saturn directs to its goal. Okay, so what happens is that Saturn does not want you to be deceitful. Saturn does not want you to be treacherous. Saturn wants you to achieve your spiritual potential. And in the world of spirituality, there is no room for deceit. There is no room for treachery. Okay. So the hostility of Saturn's vehicle, the vulture or Garuda, against serpents or nagas alludes to the prevailing illusion and ignorance through which the evolving entities must successfully emerge. Okay. So this is the reason why the vehicle of Saturn is very hostile to the nagas, because Saturn not only wants to make you spiritual, it wants you to give up your, it wants you to give up on your deceitful as well as treacherous nature. Okay, and in the world of spirituality, you have to be simple. You cannot. There is no room for deceit. There is no room for treachery, and that is something that Saturn wants you to achieve through his vehicle or vahana. So Saturn aims at dispelling darkness and inculcating wisdom in the most practical manner. This can happen when the evolving soul understands the nature of ignorance and limitations imposed by the encasing sheets. So, what is the meaning of dispelling darkness? Dispelling darkness means clearing your personality of any and every dark trait that you may have. Okay, and this can happen only when there are hardships encountered in the most practical manner. That means Saturn takes away your support system. Okay, Saturn takes away your support system and makes you realize that there is no one to support you. All that you have is yourself. Okay, all that you have is yourself, right? So that is what Saturn does to you. Okay, so Saturn also aims at destroying and dissolving these sheets, which causes death of the human body. So at the end of the day, what we understand is Saturn actually wants to make you immortal. And how is it making you immortal? By making you experience your true spiritual nature. Okay. So Nagas are wise men or seers. Garuda as the vehicle represents the cycles of time and conscious unfoldment through which the soul is led to enlightenment. So this is important to understand. Okay. Although the Nagas are treacherous, although the Nagas are deceitful, at the end of the day, they are also wise. Okay. And once Saturn destroys that deceitful or treacherous nature within you, you recover your wisdom. Okay, you recover your wisdom and you become equivalent to a seer or to a rishi. So Saturn reaches its goal by the evolutionary method. This explains the role of vulture as its vehicle. So this is how we understand why Saturn has the vulture as its vehicle. So the Sanskrit word gridha, which stands for vulture, also means greed and a covetous nature. Okay, so this is something that people use very frequently. Grid, right? Grid is actually grid, so it means gid, right? Vulture is known as gid. So this stands for vulture. It also means a greed and a covetous nature, and Saturn helps you to overcome that nature by riding that vulture. Okay, you can overcome when you overcome something. Only then you can. We all have heard about that word, ride the wave. Okay, he is a wave rider. You ride that wave as a surfer. You ride that wave. So similarly, only when you have overcome your greedy and your covetous nature, only then you can ride that vulture. Okay. So when a person strives greedily after material objects and passionately longs for their possession, Saturn makes them frustrated and gradually turns them away from these desires. So this is the common modus operandi of Saturn. He will frustrate you to no end, and finally you will be mature enough to understand that those desires were never meant to be fructified. Yes. So Saturn arouses discontentment and thereby directs the individual to that which is enduring. So Saturn, by means of discontentment, right, it actually points you towards something that is everlasting. And what is everlasting? The bliss of the soul is everlasting, and that is Saturn. That is Saturn in its true sense. Okay, he wants you to experience that bliss of the soul, that immortality of the soul. He wants you to understand that you have only yourself. Even your body is not yours. Your body will be left behind after you die, isn't it? It will be either consigned to the flames, or it will be, it will be buried in the ground, where maybe insects and microorganisms will feed on your body, or fire will eat up your body. So at the end of the day, you do not even have, you do not even have your flesh or blood or bones to take away. Then what to speak of your attachments or relationships? That is something that Saturn wants us to realize. And once that realization happens, bliss comes in finally. So the vulture refers to the psychophysical process of destruction and disappointment in the material realm that finally leads to spirituality. So this is the ultimate churn. Okay, the ultimate churn where you give up your all that you have learned, when you unlearn everything that you have learned. That is the goal of spirituality that Saturn wants you to reach. So vultures fly towards the sun. So as I have explained, Garuda and his other sons they were famous for flying towards the sun, and Saturn is the son of the sun. So Garuda as a vehicle enables Lord Vishnu to have perfect control over time, so that final resolution in eternity is possible. So as the vehicle of Vishnu, he enables the Lord to preside over the entire universe or the entire creation as the preserver, right? So Garuda's relationship with both Vishnu and Saturn suggests a similarity in their task of preservation of the cosmos at an earthly level. So just like Vishnu preserves the universe, similarly Saturn preserves your soul by saving it from being treacherous, by being deceitful. Okay, so both Vishnu and Saturn, they have the role of preserving the soul. Vishnu has the role of preserving the universe. Similarly, Saturn has a role of preserving the soul from corruption, from getting corrupted by material desires. So if one is familiar with Western astrology, you will see Saturn being represented as an old man with a sickle in his hand. Whatever status is assigned to Saturn, the references to him esoterically emphasize that he loves mankind and was placed to guide it towards its higher destiny. So whatever attributes are there to Saturn, at the end of the day, you have to understand that he loves you. Okay, and he is only doing whatever he needs to do to take you towards your higher destiny. That means he is taking you, or he is making you become an instrument of the divine. Okay, so we come to the end of the presentation. All right, so I'll stop the sharing. If you have any questions, I'm just opening up the forum for taking your questions. And if you don't, then it's fine. We can meet for the Panchanga class on Sunday at the usual time.
Sir, I want to know one thing.
Yes, Dr. Saab, I can hear you.
Yes, I want to know the house maid, the 24-hour maid, and the maid who comes and go,
Right.
and the sweeper and the beggars, under who what planet? I want to know the planetary significance of the 20.
They are all under Saturn, but the beggar is a combination of Rahu and Saturn.
Fine, they are all under Saturn, but Vega is a conjunction. Thank
Yes.
you. This was a confusion. Thank you, sir.
All right. So I'll just stop the recording. Okay. And thank you all for joining. I really apologize that the link went off. But as I said, this is more some nimitta that did not want the higher secrets of astrology to be revealed. And yes, I'll see you all for the Panchanga class on Sunday at 7:30. Thank you so much.